Hey, welcome to another episode of Freedom on Fire. I'm your host, Robert Bob TV Brown. How you doing today? Now, last time I was up here, I kind of went off on Hillary Clinton in this stupid "It Ain't My Fault" book, and she's just the gift that keeps on giving. And I'm not talking about the good type of gift. I'm talking about something like herpes. I mean, you can't get rid of them. Hillary Clinton is like herpes. You just can't get rid of her. Man, she needs, really, this is sad. This is sad. This is one of the most narcissistic, egotistical maniac out there. And I'm going to show a clip a little bit later on another episode about Bill Maher and this panel that's just stumping on Bernie Sanders again, as usual. I don't know what you do with the Bill Mahers and the Joy Reid and the Neera Tandons and the Rachel Maddows. These are deplorables, okay? You know, these are deplorables. So, I mean, bad enough you got a narcissistic, crazy nutcase of a president and Trump. I mean, an egotistical, all about himself type person. But we would have had the same thing in office with Hillary Clinton. Sure, she may have had some good domestic policies, but if you tilt the scale, she would have been more on the weight of foreign policy than domestic. Whole entire makeup of everything that she's saying out of her mouth is totally foreign policies. The whole Russia narrative and all that, and the Assad and all that. Not much she talks about here when it comes to help lifting people up in the homeland, in the United States. Now, let me get back into it. We're going to go right back into Hillary Clinton's interview with The View. I got a lot of content I need to go over this week. I hope I have time. Nina Turner's going to be in town Wednesday, and I'm going to try to go down there and see my girl. Man, got a lot of stuff to talk about. I mean, so let's get right into it.
And they will be as aggressive as they can get away with. Again, not a Republican or Democratic issue. They may have gone after me this last time, but if they think they can destabilize us, which is Putin's principal goal, he wants to undermine democracy, our alliance with the Western democracies. If he can succeed in that, we are all going to be worse off.
All right, you know I got to put on these glasses. Let me kind of shine them up a little bit. First of all, Mrs. Slick Willie, you still have no evidence whatsoever, documented evidence, bona fide proof that Russia hacked elections. You're trying to use this as a scapegoat. Why? Because you don't want to take no responsibility on how bad you suck to the point that even Donald Trump could beat you. Don't blame voters. You have to earn people vote. Nobody owes you their vote. You got to get out there and bust your butt to earn it. And you didn't. You thought this thing should be handed to you on a silver platter. Now, I'm not going to go too far into this, but you still have no documented proof that Russia interfered in our election. Sure, you might have somebody from Russia. Doesn't mean the Russian government. And that's the wordplay that you're trying to play on people's mindset. And some people are so clueless that they never catch it. There's a difference between a Russian probably sitting in his living room or in his basement or at a laptop at a coffee shop next to the Washington, D.C., hacking into servers, than the Russian government. See, I myself am American. If I hacked into the government agency of Russia, is it the United States who put me up to it? 9 times out of 10, no, me, I did it. Now, I'm not a hacker, but you get my drift. So stop using this wordplay on the Russians, meaning the Russian government and a Russian person. Now, second of all, it is documented, proven for a fact that algorithm in the pace of the transfer of the of data from Gucci for 1, 2, and 3, whatever it was, into the hands of Julian Assange were local. And it was traced back to the DNC. Proven, documented evidence. So your Russia, as I said over and over again, is a bunch of lies. You're making it up. You came up with this. John Podesta came up with this. Why? Because you need to find a scapegoat. You need to make it seem like there's no way in the world that you, Miss High and Mighty, great Miss Pretty, nobody can touch me, it's my turn, I'm the golden girl, the queen of the United States, it's my turn, could ever lose to dumb Donald. And when I mean dumb politically, I'm not going to take away from his business savvy. He's a shrewd, crude businessman. Yes, he may have some corruption, just like most of the corporations in the United States do. So stop with this slick Willie, because that's what you're being. You're being slick. And that's why nobody's buying your crap. And for the View to sit there and entertain you, I don't even think they buy that crap. They just glad to have you on because it gets them ratings. Looking at the cover of your book, and it said, what happened? And down at the bottom it said Hillary Clinton. I was going to say, why is your name bigger than the title of the book? Because you are what happened. You are the reason why the Democrats lost, and the reason we have Trump is you. When you had an opportunity to step down, when you were being looked into by the FBI, and the same thing with Trump. If you were doing the right thing for America, you would have stepped your butt down. Let me keep going. No evidence whatsoever of Russia hacking into the computers. No evidence of Russian hacking into the elections. There's no evidence of Russia hacking into the mind, because the majority of the people don't like you. Your approval rating sucks. It sucks worse than Trump. People don't like you, and this is the reason why people don't like you. Because you're not a real leader. You don't stand for something. You don't take responsibility for your own actions. You're a weak politician and a weak leader. And you're trying to put on this front that you're strong and you're knowledgeable, and that's what this whole interview is about. You're going to show your skill and your knowledge. Let me tell you something. It takes more than knowledge and skills to be president.
So I say to my friends on Russia, on suppression of voters.
Shut the fuck, shut. Did I say? Oh, shit. Say it again. Say something else. Oh, say something else. Say something else.
Yo, did she say suppression of voters? Did she just say suppression of voters? Hillary, the Democratic Party is the king of suppressing votes. How? Number one, you shut down, and this is your strategy to get to the White House, and the strategy to smooth your way into the White House until you end up getting a challenger in the form of Bernie Sanders. You figure, hey, I got the superdelegates on my side before we even started. Now, how you got them on your side to that level of commitment, we don't know. Maybe it lies in the story between the Wan brothers, who have access to just about every Democratic official on Capitol Hill, who has data connected to Debbie Wasserman Schultz, the person who was running the DNC. Maybe, just my philosophy, in the words of KRS, just my philosophy, maybe you and your team was holding something on over the head of these Democratic leaders. Then again, I don't know much. Just my theory that you have so much dirt on these politicians that they had no choice but to not back away from you when it comes to the superdelegate switching. You want to make sure that this don't happen to you again. There was a total turnaround. They turned their way from you and went toward the way of Barack Obama, and you need to find some way to not let that happen again. How do I do that? Well, I'll work out deals with all these Democratic leaders, and I'll raise money for them, and that's even kind of questionable with the Ready for Hillary Fund and just a whole bunch of mess behind that. That's another story. That's another investigator. We need somebody that's a reporter. I'm not a reporter. I'm a commentator. We need somebody to check into that, because that's something different. So, but what kind of power did you have over these people? So number one, you found some way, your team, which including the DNC, found a way to make sure that these superdelegates are locked stock. Superdelegates are the suppression of vote. What do you mean by that? Because every one person vote, a superdelegate vote, is worth thousands, maybe tens of thousands. That's suppression. That's letting me know that my vote don't count compared to them. That's not a fair balance. Why they get so much voting power and a regular man like me has no voting power? That is suppression. You got the nerve to talk about Russia trying to suppress? Oh, let's talk about the closed primaries. You thrive in closed primaries. Even Debbie Wasserman said we need to close primary because we don't want somebody from the grassroots, Bernie Sanders, maybe Jill Stein, somebody from the grassroots coming up and taking our votes, especially in the primary. So you got to have the closed primary. You favored in the closed primary. But soon as them suckers open up, or it was some kind of caucus or something like that, Bernie Sanders whipped your behind. Why? Because now you got all different people willing to vote in the Democratic Party, willing to come over and vote in the Democratic Party, which is a plus for you, but you see it as a curse. You talking about suppression. Closed primaries is suppression of a vote. Get out of here with this mess. Suppression. I'm living in New York City. The date to change your voting registration was way, I think, in October. But the primary date for New York to start voting was way in about April. So in other words, if I didn't change back then, I can't change. And a lot of people didn't know about Bernie Sanders. And I'm not tooting his horn, but I'm just telling the truth. A lot of people didn't know about Bernie Sanders and the ideas he was proposing and the energy that he was bringing to the grassroots to move people into the Democratic Party. A lot of people didn't know that. And there was a lot of independents in New York City, hundreds of thousands, and maybe even up to 3 million that didn't get a chance to vote because of closed primary, suppression of the votes. Well, we got to keep this democratic. Why? Why? That's not democratic. Why not? So if you want to keep this democratic, why not push the date to change at least a month before the election date for that particular city or state? No, you don't want to do that because the chance of a grassroots person coming up like a Howard Dean, a Dennis Kucinich, or Bernie Sanders, or Jesse Jackson to come up, and you can't railroad them and put a kill switch, as Jill Stein so eloquently and beautifully and so intellectually said, trying to stop them at the grassroots. Suppression voters, you and the DNC party. Well, but wait, we're not finished with that. How about you close the voting station? Oh yeah, you close the voting, you cut the voting booths in half, the places to go vote in half, and you made a lot of people who barely can walk. I witnessed it for myself, who barely can walk, who their polling stations in their neighborhood got shut down and it got moved to another part of town. And these people take paratransit and elderly transportation and can't get down there to vote. And when they do get down there, the line is so freaking long where they can't physically be able to stand up for hours of a time to vote. So they get frustrated and go back home because their knees hurting. They're immobile. They have to wear or have a rollator or a stroller or whatever. You got the nerves to talk about suppression. Shut up.
Shut your damn mouth.
Particularly African American and young voters, and sexism and misogyny, which are endemic in our system, and we ought to start talking about it.
Right.
Look, now she's starting to pander. She said, particularly African Americans, young people, and sexism and misogynism. Let me tell you something, Miss Slick Willie, Hillary Clinton. The young African American voters are finding out that your policies between your husband and you, which you were the cheerleader for those policies, hurt the black community. It put a lot of their parents in jail for a little small thing is smoking a little weed, hitting a little bud. Or maybe somebody's standing next to me, steal something, and they run both of us in, and I don't even know this cat. So you talk about Donald Trump being a racist, and he has racist tendencies, don't get me wrong. But your policies are overall racist. One of your best friends is a racist. And I believe you just as racist too. My personal belief. I understand how you treat my good friend, Danny Williams. How you don't want him to even get close to Bill Clinton, a young black boy who is believed to have a son from a black woman who Bill was having relationships with back in Arkansas, who everybody in town says is his daddy. Everybody in town. The features, the look of this young man is saying Bill. This man don't know who his real father is, and he's trying his best to just get with Bill Clinton and get a real paternity test done, to not to get your money, not to try to be the take over, and no, he just he wants to know for himself, this young black man, and he wants his kids to know about what could be their father. And you want to talk about young black people. And don't get on this misogynist stuff. Hold on, Clinton. With all the women that are in Congress on the Republicans and Democratic side, men voted for them. Women voted for them. So where are you getting this misogynist stuff from? Well, they don't want it for the president. No, they don't want you. It's you. And this is why. This is why you will not win any election. And I know you got some plan. We're going to talk about that in another segment, that, hey, if there's Russian involvement, which you're going to try to drum up some charges on that, let's throw the whole election out and redo the election. You will still get your behind spanked. And you got some doggone nerve to holler election fraud after you and your co-host cheated Bernie Sanders. So if anything that need to be thrown out, the whole entire election process from the primaries all the way to the general need to be thrown out. But let's go back to misogyny. This black man looked at your record as Secretary of State, looked at your record as senator from a place that was so easy to win. Kermit the Frog could have ran and won that election. So don't tout yourself on the back. Westchester County? Really? You didn't represent New York City, you represented Westchester County. So don't toot yourself on the back. You did nothing for New Yorkers. A couple of things, that's about it. And then as Secretary of State, you were horrible. So don't come patting yourself on the back to make yourself look good. And the young people the one who you think that that was so dumbfounded, didn't have a brain, that they're so easy to be manipulated and easy to be maneuvered with just some memes or some GIFs or some Facebook tweet posts or some Twitter tweets. Let me tell you something. This generation is one of the smartest, brightest generation. And with the world of the internet, they can check your record, young lady. There are ways to check your voting record and to see that you vote more Republican than Democrat. And they don't want that. So don't you dare crap on young people and try to call people misogynists and Bernie bros and basement dwellers and all that. No, you are a basement dweller. You are a misogynist. The way you let your husband defend your husband over these rape charges and these sexual allegations, the way you shame these women. Get out of here with that stuff. I'm telling you, man. I'm telling you, I done told you one time, this lady has lost her marbles.
I told you that bitch crazy.
Okay. We agree with that. We totally agree with that. So, but, I was sure that you were going to win. I mean, let me take you back to that night. So was I. I know you were.
Once again, you proved my case. You just knew you were going to win. That is not how the game is played. That is a sign of narcissism. When you think that you're just gonna dominate because I'm great, I'm elite, this is all about me, it's my turn. Are you ready for me? Are you ready for me? Everybody, you should come vote for me, right? I'm Hillary Clinton. It's my turn and I'm gonna do great. It is my destiny to crack that glass ceiling. That's narcissism. I just thought I was going to win too. I just knew I was going to win, and there's no way I would have lost to Donald Trump. Yeah, there was plenty of ways. This is what I'm talking about. That elitist, that privilege, that is my time. And the way you talked about it, I'm winning. I'm being dirty. I got more delegates than Bernie and Obama. I'm winning. Then you turned into, why am I not at 50%?
I told you that bitch crazy.
This elitist mentality, that you got is the reason why you lost. You should never assume that you're going to beat the brakes. And what sets it off even worse is you rent the Jacob Javits Center. The Jacob Javits Center, people, is the place where a lot of events are held in New York City, car shows, blah, blah, blah. Hillary Clinton was supposed to have her commencement speech there. The entire place is made with glass, including a glass ceiling. And she actually got leased out a couple of spots on the ceiling so she can crack that glass, and they was going to put plexiglass over that ceiling so she can crack that glass and it breaks when she wins the nomination. Her whole stage was made of the United States. It was elaborate, and the place was packed. And all that glass and that glass ceiling, she just knew she was going to win. She just knew she was going to crack that glass ceiling and let the glass fall down. Now, I'm sorry, baby. It didn't happen. See, that's narcissism at its best. That is arrogance, elitism, and too much cockiness. And when you get that, that's too much pride in yourself. And as the scripture said, pride goes before the fall. And your pride came right before you fell. Your biggest mistake was assuming that, well, just everybody going to vote for me anyway. I don't have to give anything up. I don't have to give no concession. I don't have to woo the Bernie Sanders crowd, which a lot of them was the independents and some of them was Republicans. They were not all Democrats. I ain't got to woo them. For every Republican, for every Bernie Sanders supporters we lose, we'll gain about 3-4 Republicans. Wrong. This is what caused you to lose. And this is what is smearing your entire legacy. At one time, you were held as a hero. Now you held as a hero sandwich.
We were talking before about that night when anxiety started to get to me. Right. And I was positive you were going to win. Everyone was, And then when I saw that you weren't, we showed a picture. I went into mourning. I had a veil.
This is not untrue. This is
I had a veil. People were crying.
Yeah.
And then it was like at a certain moment, we were on the air. When I realized that you were not going to win, it was like, I felt like I had lost a friend or something.
And that is what you call identity politics when you're so wrapped up in the individual, where you're identifying yourself with this person to the point you're so linked up to them. Let me tell you something. I'm a DTA person. I don't trust anybody. I'm a DTP. I don't trust politicians. Much as I like Bernie Sanders, I don't 100% trust him. I don't know him. I know of him. I don't trust Hillary Clinton. I don't trust Donald Trump. I never trust Bill Clinton. I don't trust Obama 100% after he started bombing in black and brown people, innocent people. No, I make them earn my trust. I'm not going to roll out my trust for you. You're not my wife. You're not my lady. I'm not in there. No. And even then, she have to earn my trust. I don't throw my trust out of the way. And I'm not going to sit here. She said, I went in the morning. I had on my black. You said she had the black veil on. I'm telling you, I'm thinking all these women on this panel is crazy. Whoopi Goldberg, all of them. Crazy. You're so caught up in identity politics, you never took a chance to look at the person's record. You get caught up in this persona of Hillary Clinton because she's Bill Clinton's wife and she's like the queen of the Democrats and she always look out for people and never looked at the record and see if she really look out for the common man. And if you do dare to look at the record, you'll find out she's a Republican acting like a Democratic. Bernie Sanders is more of a Democratic than she'll ever be. She will never be a Democratic, even though she hold a name, even though she ran into office. Her policies are Republican. Majority of Republicans Republicans, so spare me with this. Bernie Sanders is an independent. And I'm not tooting Bernie's horn, but the bottom line is Bernie has caucused with the Democrats. Bernie's policies are old school Democrats. Now, I'm a fan of Jill Stein and Jill Stein policy, and I think it go over and above. It's Bernie Sanders' policies on steroids. Jill Stein policies from the Green Party is far more advanced than the Democratic Party. But the Democratic Party, under the Bernie Sanders policies, are FDR Democratic policies. Hillary Clinton policies are not. She's Republican. Her voting is Republican. Her stance is Republican. Her hawkishness is Republican. She is a Republican. And for you women on The View to sit there, oh, Hillary, 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 oh, my Hillary, I was crying, I was devastated. Oh. Stop it. I'm done, man. I went over. All right, we're going to get right back to this. Part 3 is coming up on my breaking down of Hillary Clinton. We got a lot of stuff to do, man. This lady has to go. She has to retire. She has to leave politics. She's not going to help the Democratic Party. Now, I should be happy for that because it look like I'm going to be voting third party again. The Jamal Barack and Jill Stein run again. I will vote for them, whether you like it or not. Why? Because of their policies. And I vote on people who have integrity. And bold people and aggressive people who will stand up against the machine. That woman went to jail went to a black site. They held her hostage in a black site. Why? Because she was trying to get into debates to talk about the vision that she has for America. Now, I am for a politician who take the vision of us and utilize that as what they stand for. And that's what the Green Party has done. Well, I wouldn't say necessarily the Green Party. That's the Green Party's policies. But Jill Stein and the Jamal Baraka in general, they have stood for people-driven policies. They don't take big money. They don't kiss corporate butts. Now, this is not an endorsement of the Green Party, but I'm just letting you know there's other options out there, and you won't even give them a chance because you're stuck in this duopoly system with crooked politicians both on the right and the left. Or I say the right and the semi-right, because the left is gone. And Bernie is trying to push himself as the alternative, the true left, but the true left don't even have a party hat. The true left are people-pushed individuals, people who push people policies, people who run for office that are pushing the people's agenda. Now, I know there's a people agenda out, and a lot of people, they equate that with Bernie Sanders and our revolution. No, the people's agenda, the people's platform was way before Bernie ran. I have this thing called the People's Manifesto, which is pretty much the same thing. And the way I go about it and the way I suggest you go about it is not to be kissing these people parties, not to be kissing these super PACs behind, that you take your own document and you go to a politician and say, are you for this? And it's down at the below at the link. You go and say, are you for this, these, it's pretty much 10 bullet points. There are more to it, and you can add it. It's open source, and we'll go over it. But are you for this, and this? If not, I'm going to ask your opponent if they this for this. If they say, yeah, I'm going to vote your opponent over you. If they say no, I'm not voting for you. If you say, I'm not voting for them. If you say no, I'm not voting for you. I'm going to find somebody with integrity, with boldness, willing to fight against the machine, even though they're the underdogs, and I'm going to shoot for them. And I'm not going to let no fear, nothing stand in my way. Right is right. You don't vote on fear. You vote on faith in the person that you believe has the vision to take the American people up higher and higher and higher. And if they don't, you don't vote for them. And if they're part of criminal investigation and indictment, you definitely don't vote for them. That would be dumb. And that's the reason why we have what we have right now. I'm Bob TV, Freedom on Fire. We'll come back to part 3 of me breaking down Hillary Clinton. I love you guys. Holla at you later. Peace.
I told you that bitch crazy.
Hey, this is your boy Bob TV with Freedom on Fire and Rob Report. I want to thank you for watching the webcast. Make sure you share these segments all across your social media network. Like and share, subscribe, and maybe I invite a couple other people to do the same thing. You make the difference. I also want to thank you for those who support this channel through Patreon, whether it's 50 cents to $50 million. It goes right back into what we do here. So like the lights that you're looking at right now, that's because of something that you did. So I really appreciate it. I want to thank my man Vegimatic for the Blue Yeti mic, one of the top microphones out right now. He knew I needed the mic, so he blessed me with it. So all of you guys make the difference into this channel growing, and I really want to appreciate you for that. Also, by all means, again, continue to share your comments at the bottom of each video. Just don't get so visceral to the people who may disagree with me or may disagree with you. This calling out name stuff, that's not for this channel. So please try not to call people names, personal names. Now you can call some of the stuff they talk about crap. I say that, but just don't attack people personally. Words really hurt when you start attacking people personally, because these people really believe these things, and you're not gonna take away their belief by calling them names. So please don't do that on this channel. But nevertheless, I appreciate you guys. We're shooting for 2,000 now, so I need your help. So as my pastor would say, reach one, teach one. I mean, let's reach out. You got the information. Make sure you share with other people and try to get them to subscribe to the channel so we can grow and expand. On Bob TV, Freedom on Fire, Rob Report. Peace.